Well, greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft episode. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am really excited today to talk about everything about, like the holidays. And right now, I want to start off with happy holidays. I'll just say it in general, whatever you celebrate. And we of course, once, Thanksgiving, sorry, Halloween's done. But wow, I remember as a young mom, it seemed like we were off to the races. Like the minute Halloween was over, it was like roller blades greased, and then it was all a big blur. Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and anything else you may celebrate. So happy, happy, happy. And so part of it, I wanted to say that first. And that said, it's not happy, happy for everybody. So I just want to I'm really pro inclusivity with, the whole holiday thing because holidays honestly can suck for a lot of people. And this is not to be a Debbie Downer. This is to be just to include everyone because I think it's way more people than we're even aware of. Because a lot of times people are walking around smiling and going to the office holiday parties, going to this party, putting up with that one, putting up with this one, and really, and they're not happy. There's also a ginormous hence the word epidemic, because there's a loneliness epidemic, at least in the United States. We know it's also going on in London. We talked about that in London, sorry, the whole country. England, which is why they came up with a few prime ministers ago came up with an actual job called the Minister for Loneliness to help with that. So there's a loneliness epidemic. So I think it's really important to acknowledge everybody. So happy, happy, happy. And now I really want to just sort of validate, and it might be a temporary thing. It might be that the holidays don't usually suck for you, but they do this year because you had a loss less than a year ago, or maybe it's more than a year ago. And Giovanni says happy, happy too, if that's how you're feeling. So right out of the gate, I just want to talk about the losses can do it, right? So there's a loss of a death, and that's can be huge, and it might have been more of a year ago, and you're not done grieving yet. And you know what? That is freaking okay, because grieving is a process, and it's not done till it's done, and it gets interrupted by things. And then it catches up because it has a process, and then we can feel free when that grieving process is over. But until then, it can be really, really tough. And then there's loss of relationship. And here's the deal: grieving a loss is grieving a loss, whether it's a death or of a person, or it's a death of a relationship. The grieving process kicks in, and that's it. Again, it's not done till it's done. And so things might be different this year. If the relationship is an actual divorce, and also with kids, it's gonna be different even without kids. And they're being shuttled around now, and it's not the same, and all the traditions just went down the drain, right? It's important, just so important, to be kind and good and compassionate with yourself. And here's the thing, before I go another inch, I think I would plan to do this in the beginning, but oh well, we call that human. And so I don't really like to get into editing at all, because then it makes it kind of fakey fake. I mean, it's nice to sometimes tighten things up if there's sneezing and coughing and, like, I don't know, the UPS person comes to the door or something. I don't know. But as far as the rest of it, we're having a conversation. And if you were all in my living room with me, which is what I picture right now in different ways, different dimensions, I wouldn't be apologizing for any of it. I wouldn't say, oops, let me edit that and then say it again. No. So here's the real deal. So the thing with the holidays is, and why they can suck for most people, in addition to what's actually going on in your life, is that the holidays are marketed. I mean, so much. And we're not talking about the stuff. The stuff just leads to other levels of pain, for lack of a better word. So family is marketed. Family is marketed. Togetherness is marketed. Success is marketed, whatever that looks like. Whether that's a relationship plus kids. I mean, they're relationships too, but you know what I mean. Square footage, the house, like, look at them. They have this. Look at them. They can afford to buy their kids toys. And I got laid off this year, and I don't have a partner anymore. Blah, 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 blah. So we get so locked in around the holidays, more than ever. We get locked into this social comparison thing, and social media really augments that significantly. And that's probably one of the biggest understatements I think that I can say, because I'm thinking I'm a fabulous 57 for at least another month anyway. Or it's about another month. Oh, it's less than a month. Anyway, is back in the day, the social comparison was all there, right? But when Mr. Murphy, drove his new station wagon into his garage. You're like, ooh, how come the Murphys can afford the station wagon and they have those cool back seats, and how come my dad, it's the 50s, right? So how come my dad can't afford that for the family? And then, but once Mr. Murphy drove his shiny new station wagon into the garage, you didn't really think about it as much because it's out of sight, out of mind. Well, that's not the case with social media, which is 24/7. And I know my Minecrafters, my students and I, we talk about it a lot because they feel this compulsion, for lack of a better word, to stay connected 24/7. And here's the thing I know from my own personal research is that each and every time there's a notification, it just goes ding, 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 buzz, whatever your little tones are, and blah, blah, blah. And you look at it, there's an immediate mood shift. We know that. This is not different for seasoned grown-ups. And the high majority of the time, the mood shift is negative. And we're wired for negative thinking anyway. We've discussed that with, primally because it was about survival. So it's a little bit of a heavier lift to think positively in general, okay? Now enter social media into the scene, especially, it's true for 365 days a year plus leap year. Though at the holidays, it's just so amped up. Look at this one, look at that one, look at this one. And obviously the suicide rates are up and everything. And so it's really important to keep that in check. So now we're going to talk about, what to do, okay? You might have had, again, loss with a death in the family, loss with a relationship, loss with finances. Maybe you didn't really have the loss, but you're not where you want to be, and success is being, thrown in your face and plastered all over the place with social media. Shut that crap off. I mean, it's a good idea anyway. But here are some tips and tricks. And so I'm probably a really good fit to do this video, actually, because I'm fortunate enough to have obviously a wonderful family of my own, my husband and my 5 kids, and I just love them more than any. The sun rises and sets on all of them. And my husband's side of the family. Though any of you who know the backstory, you've watched the other videos, I had a very turbulent and somewhat violent childhood. And it was, it was a lot of surviving and a lot of resilience and I get it. I really get it. And I also understand, I think I'm going to do a whole separate one on this, but I also understand the whole idea of chosen family because you cannot control what family you're born into. You just can't. And as a child, basically all you do is survive and you do the best you can because kids are dependent on adults. And if those adults are dysfunctional, mentally ill, or sick in any other way, you've got what you've got. And hopefully there are some, anchor people, I could say anchors in there that you can, kind of latch yourself to and look to them for guidance and, love and support. But that's not always the case. And I think it's not always the case a lot. And so I will tell you that in my Minecraft class, just the last one before I sent them off for the Thanksgiving break, I said, to kind of giving them permission, statistically speaking, when everybody's saying happy Thanksgiving, have a nice break, that's all great. We don't want to not do that, right? Statistically speaking, not everybody's thrilled to go home. And I know who they are because I watch their faces and they just like that. And without getting deep in front of everybody or at all, because that's their business, right? I just very gently, subtly, lovingly validated it. So it's okay if you're going home and your plan is to stay as far away from your house as you possibly can with every excuse in the world that you can. I'm thinking of somebody growing up when I was a kid he worked at a fast food place and he used to deliberately schedule himself. He was in high school, deliberately schedule himself. And his mom would say, oh, how come you've been there 2 years? And how come, oh no, well, somebody called on it and just like made it happen all the way through. Just kept scheduling himself. So one big tip I would say is to, unplug the drugs for one thing, because the social media, just going to social media fast, just don't do it. The internet in general, unless you have to work and just get off of there. So that's my number one. And my number two would be to remember this, okay? That it's happy for lots of people. Lots and lots and lots of people are not, and they're not going to probably say it. It's just another day on the calendar. Really. Somebody picked it, they made a calendar, and they put it there. And that's it. It's just a day on the calendar. I think remembering that can really help and take the pressure off because there's like happiness pressure during the holidays. And if you're not, then you feel, which is, we call those secondary emotions, right? We're sad about feeling sad, which is ridiculous. So it's just a day on the calendar. Just dismiss it. Unplug the phone. Totally. Remember about the social comparison thing. Whatever those people are doing out there has nothing to do with me. Here's the other thing. Okay, so that's two or three tips. I lost my train because my head is so fast right now because this is kind of a topic I think I'm sort of passionate about because I've lived it. And here's the thing. Remind yourself that you're a grown up and you can make your own traditions. You can just completely check out of the holidays. I've got a very good friend of mine doing that right now. Happy as a clam, surrounded by palm trees, and you can choose, even if that isn't your way to kind of dodge it. Even just in your own house, in your own living space, in your own whatever, you have the control to unplug the phone. I'm thinking landline, or just turn it off if it's the cell phone, or both. And you can choose to not look at the computer and the pop-ups, and you can choose to go on walks in the woods. If you're in Manhattan or San Diego or someplace around the world in big city, you can choose to go be anonymous. Even easy in the woods to be anonymous, easy in a big city to be anonymous too. Also, another really great way to ease the pain of being stuck in our heads is to get out and do something good for somebody. Doesn't have to be at some big level. Go volunteer at a soup kitchen for a couple of hours. Do something anonymous. Pull. Right now there are trees all, Christmas trees in stores and things. You can, single parents and, with trying to do stuff for the kids, toys for top. Just go do something anonymous. There's just so much you can really do, and really, I'm also a big fan of simple pleasures, because you can make this holiday your own. You can just give yourself, like a permission to just step out of the current and don't do it. Just don't do it, because you deserve to be happy. Your life minutes are so valuable. There's nothing. This are like our most valuable commodity. If you can, I can't think of a better way to say it because you can't put words on it. Our life minutes. So don't allow yourself to be on autopilot and slide into these old feelings of unworthiness and these old feelings of not being appreciated and these old feelings of maybe even being abused and neglected, and of course neglect is a form of abuse. And just because remember, the brain's going to want to go there because that's what it's used to. So when you go to so-and-so's house and so puts you down, or maybe they just give you a look, it doesn't even have to be verbal, right? Your brain says, okay, that's what I was looking for. I remember that from when I was 5 and 8 and 10. And then it's going to look for that, because the whole anxiety, fear-based, shame-based, deprivation-based thinking is all self-reinforcing. So if you don't step in to take care of your own inner 5-year-old, your old inner child, that crap is all going to come right back and get right under your radar and sink you into that 5-year-old helpless little kid that depended on dysfunctional people, and bring you right down again. So you've got to be your own best friend. It's just the truth. You got to step up, stay out of autopilot, because that's so dangerous for you during the holidays. It's bad anyway because it steals life minutes. But in the holidays, for those of us who grew up in a really dysfunctional family, you got to really be on your game, like your A game. Pretend like you're, I don't know, just picture yourself on stage opening night, or getting ready to go out for to play some sporting event in a good way. Like I'm on it. Like I'm on the offensive. Okay, I'm on the offensive. You don't need to be that little. You don't need to allow your inner child to be re-wounded. No freaking way. No way. And the other thing I'm going to say is, because that leads right into protecting yourself from self-abandonment, because there is no worse thing you can do to yourself. So remember that all of your needs are on the inside, which means guess who can meet your needs? Only you. If you start to, again, on autopilot, have your need for approval, your need for this one and what they say and what they like and how they wanted your life to turn out and how they wanted you to be, and they wanted this, you to be this, they wanted you to be that, then not enough. Just remember, pull yourself back into your frame. I should have brought my frame. It's right there in the room. Anyway, pull yourself back into your frame. You can do this little silent dance. I show my Minecraft as this, actually. Don't care what you think. Silently. Or maybe if it's deserving, okay? Because we need to pull that approval meter on the inside, especially now, because otherwise the message is what he thinks, she thinks, they think, whatever is more important than what I think of myself. Bullshit. Those days are over. It's kind of like in The Wizard of Oz, Glinda, you have no power here. You have no power here. And that's it. So I say embrace your chosen family. If you don't have a lot of people, period, in your life, embrace yourself. because you are in good company. Don't forget that. You are in very good company. You all by yourself are enough exactly as you are. Remember that whatever day it is just like any other day of the year. Go make it fun. Go do something that makes you happy. Indulge in a simple pleasure, and that's it. Remember, what they think is not important when you think of yourself, and they have no power here. Awesome. Okay. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my living room in northern Vermont. You have your own way of making a happy, happy holiday for yourself. Make it a mindful one.